everything and anything, and that's on period. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. So today I want to discuss K-drama Netflix recs. So I did a different video for Chinese dramas that are on Netflix. I recommended a couple of them. So I wanted to do the, other part of it, which would be Korean dramas that are on Netflix and that anyone can get into right away. So the first difference that I guess you kind of notice is that Korean dramas are much shorter than Chinese dramas. Okay, well, they can be much shorter depending on the type of Chinese drama. So some Chinese dramas are 40 episode long dramas with each episode being like 45 minutes. So that's pretty long versus a Korean drama, which will be about 16 episodes capped at like an hour each. So that's 16 hours, and I don't know the equivalent of the other one, but you get the point. So basically, if it's, at that point, it's like the Korean shows are shorter. But just going in, they usually typically have 16 episodes, and they're usually an hour long. So there are a couple of fantastic shows on Netflix. I'm going to do an honorable mention for one show that's not on Netflix but is like the absolute, if you ever, if you like love, if like romance, if you like fantasy, that's like an absolute favorite show of mine, comfort show. I always watch any of them. I'll mention it later, but let me get into the Netflix recs. The first one I'm going to be talking about, which should not come as a surprise to anybody, but I think everyone has probably watched this show, but maybe you haven't. Let me just go ahead and say it. It's going to be Crash Landing on You by Hyun-bin and Song Yeon-jin. So we follow Ri Jeon-hook and Yoon Se-ri, where Yoon Se-ri is a Korean heiress who is from South Korea, and due to a paragliding or parasailing accident, she gets trapped on the North Korea side. If you are familiar with the world as it is right now, North Korea is not somewhere that anyone can easily walk into, even for citizens of Korea. Like, the country is basically divided into the North and the South. So this story is closely modeling, reality, where we see Yoon Se-ri, who's a South Korean lady, unfortunately gets trapped on the other side, and then she has to find a way to go back to South Korea without getting caught and getting imprisoned, whatever. And in that course of trying to find her way out, she meets a captain in the North Korean army who is Hyun-bin, and they kind of fall in love, and it's so precious. Like, okay. I remember when I first watched the show many years ago, and I was wailing. I cried. I was just like, oh my God, like, can you guys just get together? Like, something that seemed so normal, like literally I can just call a boyfriend and be like, hey, I want to meet you, just was not possible for them because of where they are from. Like, she's from the North, and he's from the North, and she's from the South. So even the ending was like not the best, but I think it was okay for what it was, because basically even right now there is still no I guess relations between the two countries. So the way the show ended is in par with that kind of thing. So the good thing is that the two main Bin and Song Yeon-jin actually got married in real life. They have a kid together. So I mean, it's so precious, this story. I think everyone has watched it, but maybe you haven't. This is an OG if you are starting to watch Korean shows. So it's on Netflix. You can start binging. I think You can do it a weekend. It's 16 hours. Come on, we can do this. Okay, so the next show that I'm going to talk about will be Alchemy of Souls on Netflix, 16 episodes, which follows Naksu and Junghyuk, Naksu or Mudok, right? So Alchemy of Souls is like a fantasy kind of story that leans more on reincarnation, where the people of this like world are dabble in magic and they are able to reincarnate souls, or there is magic involved, so it's very interesting. Whenever it came out, it had everyone on their toenails because everybody was like hyped about this show, and it came out in 2 parts. So for a bit we were all like fronting like, oh my god, where's part 2? So it was really interesting. A thing that I guess a lot of people kind of debated about was, who did you like most? Did you like Mudok or did you like Natsu? I think I liked Mudok because she was so I think I like Natsu, but I'll explain. So Mudok was very she was fitting for Jang Ok, where she was kind of rude, but you could tell that she would do anything for Jang Ok. Naksu, on the other hand, is like a sweet soul. So that, I think, is what Jangok needed, because Jangok was at the point losing his ability to trust humanity. And so Naksu is just so sweet. She embodies like sweetness, softness. So I think it was a beautiful blend at the end of the day. But yeah, Alchemy of Souls is very interesting, very fantastic. It's more fantasy, so there's like magic and stuff like that. So if that's your thing, definitely, watch it on Netflix. The next story or the next show that I'm going to talk about is Extraordinary Attorney Woo. So this one, I guess maybe it's not so popular, but I watched it and I was immediately blown away because this show talks about people that are on the spectrum or autistic, which is a subject that I don't know much about, but I was able to gain or glean some insight. And you can see how, Woo Young Woo she's a functioning person despite her disability, and she's well advanced for, again, her disability. So I think it was a very, very interesting topic, and I definitely admire the actress for being able to portray someone that has this disability with such conviction. Like, I totally believed that she was autistic, and they can find love. Yeah, color me surprised. And I really love Lee Jun Ho, who was the male lead in this film, where in the story, because he was like a covering for her, and you could see that this was someone that would move mountains and build his life around Woo Young Woo just because of the dedication and the love that he had for her. I want a part 2 because the way it kind of ended off again, I don't know, it was just like not bad, but I wish there was a part 2 so we could actually see them, maybe married and living together. I don't know. But Woo Young Woo, again, it's more about a lawyer who is autistic, and you just kind of follow her life as she fights for justice even with her disability, and falls in love. So if that's something that you want to watch, or if that's a topic that you don't know much about, definitely pick it up. It's on Netflix, 16 episodes. It's very, very interesting. Another show that I wanted to talk about that was a absolute favorite of mine is Destined With You on Netflix. 16 episodes. This is by Rowan and Chobo R. We follow Jan Chin Yu and Hong Hong Jo. So Hong Jo is how do I say? So this show is definitely a romance, but it's like fantasy. Yeah, kind of like fantasy, or like maybe like mystical things happening. But it's more like in regular times, real world scenario, and the it's like slight enemies to friends to lovers. I really loved the show. I don't know what it was, but Ruwan is he is a 10 over 10. He acted so well the different phases of when he first meets her, he's super annoyed by her, and then there's something like he's supposedly under a curse, so then he moves into like this phase where he's like so into her, and then he kind of regulates, and I mean it's so interesting. So we follow Hongjo, who's like an orphan who inherited something that has to do with spells or curses, and Ruwan is a lawyer that the thing that Hongjo inherited was found on his land, and they have to kind of work together for some period. And so there's also like a murder mystery in the story as well. So it's a well-rounded story. I definitely recommend if you like, you know, the things I mentioned, which is fantasy, romance, murder mystery, that kind of stuff. And if you like a good-looking male lead, feel free, go ahead. No one is gonna judge. Okay, so the next show that I wanted to talk about is Business Proposal. Business Proposal came out a while back. I think this one probably has like 12 episodes, so it's not so long. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's we follow Kang Tae-mo and Shin Hari. Shin Hari is so funny in her impression of King Sejong is so funny in her impression of Shin Hari, where she is like, you know, she okay, so her friend is from a Chabot family, which Chabots are like millionaires, billionaires kind of things, and they always believe in arranged marriages. So her friend is like, hey, I need you to go and like stand in place for me for arranged marriage date, and just scare the guy off. So Shin Hari goes in and she does all crazy stuff. She says all crazy stuff. Like she's literally a crazy person. And Taemu kind of falls in love with her at her worst, like at her crazy character. And so, you know, it's a love story, nothing very like serious. It's just really fun and funny, and I think they nailed the comedic and romance parts of it. There's this part where Taemu is like, oh, here's my card, swipe it, and I'm like, excuse you, can someone give me an American Express so I can like swipe? Okay, let's get back to it. But yeah, business Proposal is on Netflix. Very, very interesting. Go ahead and watch it if you like those themes. The last, or the second to the last one, will be Eve, which follows Hansora and Irael and Yeongkyun. This is a revenge story where Irael, her family was murdered, and she she knew, I think, the family who killed her parents, so she sets off on this revenge quest to take down the family who killed her family. I think her dad was like a scientist or a professor who used to work in their company, blah, 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 blah. This one took me by surprise. I don't really like revenge stories. I'm not really like, but this one was very interesting. So there was some dynamics going on with Irael and Presamim, and there was also some dynamics going with Irael and Hansora. Hansora is a crazy person. That's all I'm gonna say. She did crazy, and she did it well. So if you want to see a revenge story where you know, it's like a twisted love revenge story. The ending was not my best, but I guess it's like, how do you find happiness when you literally try to take someone down? I don't know. If you've watched Eve, let me know. It's on Netflix. It's pretty interesting. It's 16 episodes, and I think the OST for Eve was very, very good. I definitely enjoyed it. In fact, I think the OSTs for Crash Landing on You and Destined With You and Eve, top notch. Okay, so the next ones that I'm gonna go through them really quickly is gonna be King the Land with Lee Jun Ho, who acted as Won, and Sarang, and When the Phone Rings, which is Hong Hee-jo and Park Se-young. So King the Land came out, I think, 2 years ago. This is just your straight, regular, tropey romance show. Like a rich guy, poor girl, they get together, they fall in love, they have to overcome societal pressures, blah, 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 blah. Nothing we haven't seen before. I think the reason why I liked King the Land was just because of Lee Jun-ho. Lee Jun-ho, I am such... he's so good looking, and he embodied the role. He came off cold, like a billionaire's child, and he did really well. Like, I have criticisms about this show. I'm not gonna say it's like 10 over 10, but again, if you want to watch something where you're switching your brain off, you're not thinking too much, literally it's your textbook, rich and poor kind of story. So it's on Netflix. Is it 16 or 12? I'm gonna check and put it up. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Sarah kind of reminds me of Park Min-young. I don't know, she kind of looks like her. But yeah, just your basic romance story, nothing crazy. Whereas When the Phone Rings is a different show where when the phone rings, okay. When the phone rings came out last year, or was it this year? I need to check and put that up, but we follow Hong Hee-jo and Park Se-young, where it's like a murder mystery, romance, arranged marriage, kind of vibe, where Hee-jo, or Hong Hee-jo is a mute, wife married to Park Se-young, but they are not in love in the marriage, and then she is like kidnapped, or someone tries to kidnap her, and he called Park Se-young, and then she was able to get a hold of that phone, and that phone is encrypted, so it kind of hides the identity of the caller. So she escapes the kidnapping, but then she gets her hand on the phone, and so for like the next couple of episodes, she starts to call her husband, threatening to kidnap herself, basically. So it's very interesting. There's a couple of twists in the show. They kind of lost it at like the last episodes, where he got stationed in like in a third world country. I don't know. Okay, so this one did not stick the landing whatsoever. I only included it because it was very interesting, right? It was coming out maybe every week. And so the twist at the end of each episode was fantastically done. And the twists were good, right? It was a good story, and they did fall in love. It's just like that last 40 minutes or 50 minutes of the last episode was just like, what in the world? Like, what happened here? But if you watch like 1 to 15, it's a pretty good story. I enjoyed it. I'm not even gonna lie. So yeah, on Netflix again, like I said, pick it up if you like those kind of like murder mystery, romance, modern day story. Honorable mention show that I'm gonna discuss. It's not on Netflix. I think it's on, let me see, I have my notes here. Okay, so you can watch it on Viki, and okay, I only see Viki. So if you have Rakuten Viki, you can definitely pick it up, which is Guardian, the Lonely and Great God, or sometimes it's called Goblin, which follows Gun-yo and Kim Gu-on. Where in the show she is Jin Un-tak and we follow Kim Shin. So Gun-yo is okay. So this is like a May-December relationship, because Kim Shin in the show is like maybe 1,000-year-old god. He's kind of like a dokebi, so that's a goblin in Korean. And Jin Un-tak is just a regular child. She's a regular human. She's not a mystical creature or anything. And they kind of fall in love, and it's very, very, very interesting. Now, I have watched Goblin like maybe 10 times. Maybe 10 times. The 16 episodes is on Viki. It's fantasy, it's romance, a May-December romance, and it's like the best love story that I have ever watched. I'm just gonna say it. You know, well, the best fantastical romance story that I've ever watched. I really loved the way the show was filmed. I loved the teams. I loved everything. Like, this is one story from start to finish. I don't have anything that I can complain about that I didn't like. Everything was tied together. Everything came, it was like a full circle moment. Like, everything from episode 1 to the last, it's just mind blowing. So watch it if you like romance, if you like fantasy, if you like goblins. What was the other guy who was a Grim Reaper? There was just a lot going on, and it's like parallel, which we follow. They tell the story in modern day Korea and a couple of centuries back when the world wasn't as modern, and we kind of follow that progression. So Goblin is still one of my top Korean shows that I definitely, it's like a comfort show for me. I watch it every year. It's 16 episodes with Gong Yo and Kim Go Eun, and it's absolutely brilliant. Another thing is the OST. Oh my god, is Chef's Kiss. Like, the songs, I have them on repeat. Like, every song was a hit with this show. Like, the producers and directors definitely utilized good music to stir up your soul when you are watching it. And I like when a particular couple gets a particular song, because once I hear that song, I already know who's coming up. So I really like when they utilize that in storytelling. Like, you stay faithful, so that your subconscious already knows that, oh my god, it's gonna be this person, and it's just beautiful, when you watch it. So let me know if you watched any of these recs. I know I went through a lot, but I just wanted to touch on some really fun ones. Very diverse, right? Different kind of stories. You have a lot to pick from depending on your interest and your taste. But yeah, let me know if you watched any of these stories, if you like them, if you didn't like them, if you have more that you can recommend so other people can definitely pick them up and watch them on Netflix. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.